We live?
We are live. Welcome in, everybody. Saturday morning here on the West Coast. Jed Hathaway, Plague Puppets, working with Massimo and John in updating to Unreal 5. So we have some cool stuff to show everybody from our last session. And yeah, we'll just kind of walk you through some of the updates that we've been doing with the models, the lighting, brought some fog in, and just sort of starting to set the scene here. So very excited. This is a new opportunity for us to take this project into the next level and start finessing
This is a
everything.
new opportunity for us.
Sorry, that is me fucking things up.
No worries.
Go ahead.
This is everybody joining us today. Welcome aboard. We're still in the early stages of doing these live streams. We have some technical challenges and some hoops we have to jump through, so bear with us. But we'll be getting there slowly but surely. So thanks for everybody joining along. John, if you want to just do a little bit of a flyby again overhead of our set for the Orphanarium, and how we've been setting up this scene, and maybe just talk about a little bit of the challenges and expectations here with Unreal 5. We're excited to dive in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so the last couple of days we had been working with Unreal 4.27 still, and we've been bringing our project into 5, which has been pretty cool. There's definitely been some challenges that we've had to overcome from things that have been deprecated from 4 that we used, such as displacement in materials, which have come back now to 5, but are still not supported in skeletal mesh, which is like a character rig. We actually figured out a solution that still brought us back some displacement back, which was pretty cool, and we were able to.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because one of the things that one of the features that was deprecated was displacement, right?
Yeah, and tessellation.
And tessellation, right? And what displacement does, if John, you want to explain a little bit what displacement does?
Sure, and actually I can demonstrate pretty straight on too. Here, let's. Basically, it takes a flat mesh and adds detail to the mesh by taking an image map, which is usually called a height map, and it maps the changes in the surface to the flat mesh. Here we can kind of show you. Here, let me grab.
The detail looks so amazing.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. So this is the flat mesh. As you can see, there's no detail. Unreal 5 actually does a really great job at it. Lumen actually still, I think it. I'm not entirely sure exactly how it's working, but I believe it's following what's called a normal bump map.
Right.
And giving you an approximation of what the light would look like on the bumps, which is actually, it does a really great job with it. And that's an unusually good feature, and you can actually really see it with this, which this is still very much a total scratch. We haven't worked on this at all. But it's not great. But you can see that the light is actually hitting the little bumps on here, which is like, not something that you see usually with 3D programs. Usually you need to have displacement in order to do it. And one of the new features with 5 is Lumen, which is a new light system that they've built. and yeah, it's pretty impressive what it can do.
Yeah,
But nonetheless, oh, sorry,
well,
what were you gonna?
yeah, I was just gonna say the reflections are so great, and I think that's one thing we're gonna lean into a little bit with the cars and the oncoming traffic in this opening scene. The headlights on the cars reflecting off the street when it's nice and wet, and we have some rain out there. And yeah, even just with the HDRI that we're using right now is sort of a placeholder, a little nighttime scene there for the background, the 360 HDRI that we use to light the scene. You can see those beautiful shadows coming off the lampposts, the puppet, the cars, very crisp and clean. As you move the HDRI around with that sun or moon, whatever the light source is, can cast those shadows, and
Yeah.
it's looking really good from a previs standpoint compared to kind of how we were working before. So
Yeah, which is, and of course this is still very primitive, but still it's like kind of like some of the details that are coming out on this with minimal effort we're kind of blown away by
Nice.
how much better it looks from where it was.
Yeah. But so
Um,
back to the displacement. So now you put so
yeah,
if you go closer, you see that there is no displacement in this case. While the lighting, the affects the lighting and gives a pretty good effect of
right,
grooves. But when you look at the shape, there are really no grooves. Or
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and from so for certain objects this can work really well. But
Hmm.
if you need to go close to something like for the puppet, it's doesn't really cut it, even though it's really good. Um,
Hmm.
so um, so what we did was um, we had been applying displacement through our materials before, and
Hmm.
what Unreal 4 did was it added this thing called this tessellation, which basically breaks the mesh up into smaller triangles. It subdivides it without really using too much CPU and resources.
Hmm.
Um, uh, so that way you don't have to displace all your meshes. So 5 can't do that, but the with skeletal meshes, but it's just so much more powerful in the way that it processes mesh that it doesn't really matter. So we're able to use displacement on directly on the meshes, which is actually kind of even a better look. So what we did with this was we took and I'm not going to actually go through the whole process because I don't want to do it to this, but you kind of you use the
Use the
deform
deform
option,
too. Yeah.
and then as you could see, it does this. This is a drastic example. I think it's just this is just using a noise, Perlin noise, and you can see like I can
it's like our
alter
volcanic puppet,
That's kind of cool,
it. Pretty
actually.
cool.
right?
So yeah, uh, yeah. Let's see.
Oh,
So
there
yeah,
you
you
go.
could see
Right.
if I here, put it to like 1 or something.
As you like dial
Yeah,
it back a little bit. Yeah.
you could see the effect it's having. So and this looks kind of cool. It's like
Right, right,
a
right.
really good
It
puppet.
looks like it's made of bread. We can use.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
All right.
So anyway, so what we did, we applied our corduroy height map as the displacement source, and then we were able to let me just cancel that. We were able to come up with this,
Yeah,
which looks great.
There you go.
nice. Yeah.
And this will start. This is still just an early experiment of it. We'll actually probably even tweak this a little bit for the
Yeah.
final, but it definitely already is looking pretty good.
Yeah, and
Is
it'll
the
it'll be
yeah.
fun to test out the different pelts that we have. So one of the great things and unique aspects of the Plague Puppets is the different materials that we have for the pelts. So whether it be corduroy, sequins, velvet, we have a number of pelts that have different textures to them, and they react differently, based on color and lighting. We do a lot of design with the color palettes, working with Julie to work with, what she's done in real life with the puppets and import those and then see how they react with different materials and different lighting. So this has really given us a good view of what that'll look like.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, it's right. It's already looking so much better. It's incredible. I can wait to see. And we were talking yesterday. We can wait to see the fur.
Yeah, the groom. Yeah.
The groom and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the hat still doesn't. Nothing else on this has displacement. The hat will also have groom on it, which will be great. And then, then the fur jackets themselves will look really amazing, I think, too.
I mean, the lighting is so much better.
Yeah, it's really, and we haven't even really lit the scene yet either. So
right.
It's like,
yeah. I mean,
this is just like the standard lighting for it, basically.
It's just really crisp. And I think, how many lights do we have up right now? We have the HDRI, which has given us the skylight, and then we have an overhead light that follows the puppet, I believe. Is that what we have right now?
Yeah. There's like 3 or 4 lights, and that's why we have this halo, which is just like a temporary thing too, just so we can see the puppet as we're doing this.
Yep.
But yeah, so actually, technically, it's not an HDRI anymore in there. It's a combination of and this is kind of the standard setup for UE5, is a directional light, sky atmosphere, and skylight. Those 3 in conjunction kind of create this this atmosphere. Well, and then I also have fog in there as well. But that creates this like very realistic kind of lighting setup, and I have it tuned so that it's more nighttime like. But actually, what's interesting about it, and it might be harder to see now if I do this. Let me just see in here.
Yeah, my apologies there. I thought, in the past we're using HDRIs for different lighting circumstances,
Totally.
mainly in the exterior, to have some ambiance. But now I can see that it's a different path.
It functions in a similar way, and in fact, the HDRIs in Unreal actually have a skylight component to them.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually, it's similar in the way that it works, but I think this is like a little bit, it's a little more advanced than an HDRI. But let's see. So yeah, I think if we hit Control L, so yeah, look, you can change the sun position.
That's so cool.
Which is pretty cool. And it's not as apparent right now. I'm gonna undo that. It's not as apparent right now because of the way I've tuned it, but like when you have it set to its default, it acts as the sun. And it actually changes like the sun as you bring the sun down to like the horizon. It actually like creates like a sunset kind of thing too.
Changes the temperature of the light too.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So yeah, you can't see that right now from the setting, but it's definitely, I was pretty amazed by that too.
And
so did we actually pick for the drain there? Did you pick an actual?
No, so even this is just like an image. Like I made this in 2 seconds.
Oh,
it's just literally like, yeah. It's like a what's it called? I got this off Google Image and like pieced it together in Photoshop. It's like super low res and like I don't know. Even this looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean
like you can
Yeah.
tell that it's like if you go close that it's not that great, but like
Wow.
yeah, I mean it's really I'm really psyched to start putting our like actual assets into this thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so a lot of what we did just in this mock-up here to get the building blocks of the stage for the exterior, the orphanarium, and the street was to just grab some objects that we could quickly sketch in here to get the blocking down and sizing and things like that, and then we'll go in and replace the sidewalks and the grass, things like that we talked about in the last episode. But the lampposts look great. Cars
Yeah.
will play with a little bit, maybe bring in some different models, different styles, change up the colors. But again, even just those headlights look, so cool with this oncoming
Yeah, they
car.
look really, really awesome.
Really,
Here, let me actually pull this one further into the scene so we can. Or we could look at this guy.
yeah. And I'm curious, yeah, because we haven't really watched down the scene with this new lighting. But again, this is very, very rudimentary and just building blocks right now. But at least we can start to see what we can
Look
get
at
out of
the
this.
But
Nice.
yeah, it's really quite a big upgrade.
So, well, do we want to move forward to, I guess, so you guys, we don't have the dumbwaiter, right? But you guys started working on the Rumpus room.
Yeah, so we could just show off, maybe John, if you want to go to that other level of the Rumpus room.
Sure. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
And yeah, so within our story here with the pilot, once we follow Enid into the orphanarium, we'll have a little title sequence in the dumbwaiter. I think we showed a little bit of that last episode just through the animatic. We've started to build that out. A pretty simple build, but there's some fun animation in there. And once we have that scene fleshed out a little bit more, we'll review that with everybody. But yeah, our opening sequence in Act 2 would be Enid coming into the Rumpus room. We'll have Preston and Franklin hanging out mid-conversation. Some puppets hanging out, whether they're sleeping, drawing, coloring, just kind of a fun playpen where all the puppets come together to have some fun, and it's kind of their hangout room. And so yeah, so we just started to build this out a little bit based on what we did in stop motion for the build out of the website. And we used a lot of Julie Adams' art as backdrops for the wallpaper. And so that was a lot of fun for us to find portions of her paintings as a bit of an Easter egg there that we could use as the wallpaper. So John was able to import that image from Julie's art, and then we could sort of pull apart pieces. And
But it's still a very low res version, and that will be improved upon.
That's
But yeah,
cool.
it's a really cool painting.
Yeah, maybe next time we can show one of those plates. I don't have them handy here.
yeah,
Oh,
well,
the painting.
yeah.
I could show it.
You have the plate?
Yeah, because that's how I made it.
Oh, nice. Let's see the plate, because those are
It's actually.
we shot these plates in
The
ancient order.
oh yeah, the orphan area. I was thinking.
Well, we have the painting. Yeah, you can show the painting.
Yeah. I thought you were talking
No,
about
no, yeah, no. The plates are the one that we shot at the ancient
Yeah.
order.
Both are on my other computer. Let's see.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, we can.
maybe we show it next time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll bring those up next time. We do have. I think there were maybe 4 paintings of Julie's that we used to build out the website, and created what we call background plates for the website. And we only have a few floors open right now, but we'll continue to show those off and bring people into these different rooms. And one really cool thing about this, again, is recreating sort of what we did in stop motion, but in a 3D universe here in Unreal. And then similar to what we did in stop motion is we're going to green screen the windows so that we can make it daytime, nighttime. It could be raining, snowing, sunny. Instead of building that out in a 3D world and having to switch out those assets within Unreal, by green screening the windows, we can, change that in After Effects based on time of day, what's going on outside. So it's a bit of an easier build for us to not have to worry about that in a 3D space. And yeah, here's Julie's.
Yeah, I remembered where I put it.
Yeah, and so we use kind of just the bottom third of this beautiful painting. And we were looking for something that had a little bit of a horizon line to it and not so much detail that it was distracting from the set or the characters in the foreground. And Julie and I, when we were working at Ancient Order, building out the website, we'd go through different paintings. We had them printed oversized. I think the Rumpus room was 8 feet wide and about 2 or 3 feet deep. So we were able to just get oversized prints made. And we'll show you some of that stuff once we reveal more of the stop motion behind the scenes stuff on another episode.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Cool. So you guys set up the level. There are a couple of chairs with Franklin, and one of the things that we still need to do is sculpt Franklin's hat.
Correct. Yeah. So all of these puppets right now are just stand-ins. We have kind of our, Enid, so we know who she is, but that'll still be designed by Julie. We'll go into the puppet generator and look at the assets that we have. And then, yeah, both Preston and Franklin, from the podcast that Julie has been putting out, which is great. If you want to check that out on Spotify or Apple Music, I believe, Puppet Radio, Plague Puppets podcast. And Franklin and Preston are the hosts of that show, and they really just have great performance and great characters. So we want to design. We do have a look for Preston. I think we'll have to do a custom hat for Preston, but some of the other materials I think we already have ready to tee up. And then, yeah, Franklin is sort of a new character. We've heard his voice, but we've never seen his face. So that'll be a fun design exploration to see what Franklin looks like. But for now, we just have these placeholders so we can start working on camera and whatnot. Even the furniture right now is just placeholders. We're just really setting the scene again, as you would going into stop motion and just grabbing whatever you have and say, oh, great, I love that chair. Grab that couch. Okay, perfect. Let's set them up, and then we'll replace and upgrade as we go.
Yeah.
So in the script, the show is held in the Rumpus room, right? So Enid is gonna go from the dumbwaiter walk into the Rumpus room, right?
Correct. Yeah. So we kind of pick up after the dumbwaiter title sequence scene. We'll see Enid jump out of the dumbwaiter onto the floor and run into the Rumpus room, and then we pick up into Act 2, mid-sentence with a conversation with Preston and Franklin as they're hanging out, and then they see Enid come in, a little depressed, a little struggling, kind of bummed out. She didn't get adopted, headed back, to the safe place in the orphanarium. And that's where, Enid and Preston decide, you know what, we need to lift her spirits. Let's throw a variety show and get her excited and give her a little history of the puppets and let her know that her day will come. And that is sort of the call to action that we're going to have there with the puppets and everybody kind of gathering around like you would, think about, being in junior high and, the play is happening and everybody runs into the auditorium and gets their seats and a bag of popcorn. So that's what we're hoping to do here in this next scene.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to show some of the progress in the animation? I have something to show here. So here I'm gonna share. First, we have Jed. Yeah, watch my You have to click on watch my stream, the one that
Yep.
I'm sharing.
Yep. There we go.
Almost cool. So what we are seeing here, and you can explain it too, Jed, right? This is Enid after getting wet, after getting splashed by the car, right?
Yeah, so what's really fun here is we're kind of working in tandem while John and I are building up the scenes and the blocking and finalizing the timing of the animatic for final animation. Josh, our lead animator, is doing a little R&D research and design on not only some of the mouth packs, and we'll show you guys that, just some of the basic designs and phonetics for animation that we'll be able to use moving forward as like a design bible. But then there's some key moments here that we just wanted to start exploring and see what they would look like. And yeah, this is a little head shake by Enid. Again, we don't have her final design yet, so when it comes to materials and colors, we'll get there. But this is more just part of the animation process to look at the rigging that's wired within the infrastructure of the puppet and to see what sort of movement that we can get. And so a lot of good follow through with the ears that I really like. Her brows.
I would do even
go down
more.
a little
I would do
bit.
even more.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jed. I would do even more on the ears, like really like a dog, right?
Yeah.
Really flatten ears.
Yeah, and
I
we
don't
actually
know.
looked up. There's a lot of great reference. Something that we call live action videos, LOVs, is the term that we use, the parlance we use in animation. But a lot of times, because our animators they're performers and actors themselves, right? So an animator is not just somebody who goes in and presses some buttons and makes something look a certain way, but they're really embodying the emotions and characteristics of any certain character that they're animating. And a lot of times, like what I'll do within like Happy Honda Days, which is a commercial campaign that I work on every year, we have certain animators animate certain puppets and characters. There's people that are very good with, animals or running or certain things like that. So it's a lot of fun to dive into the headspace of an animator to actually, perform and be an actor within their own right. And so we're giving Josh that opportunity here to sort of dive in and see what we can get out of the puppets. And yeah, this is just the very beginning of a little head shake with Enid. When she's dripping wet from the rain out in the street. And I think once we have a little motion blur and we have the water effects, it'll really come to life. But this is just the beginning stages to work with that rigging and see what we can do.
And this is the mouth pack, right? The phonemes.
Yeah, so with the mouth packs, and we discussed this a little bit on the last episode, but essentially what you want to do is you just want to get down the basics for language. And so typically you go through the different consonants and vowels in different shapes. A lot of things kind of overlap. An M and a P are very similar, as you can see on the last one there. But these are just the building blocks here of getting that design language down and seeing how much we want the mouse to move or not move. And, again, leaning towards the sensibilities of the original artwork by Julie. And the materials, we want to make sure they're not too rubbery or too stretchy. So we're just going to thread that needle, no pun intended, and find a good middle ground there.
Yeah. This is the phonemes put together, right?
Yeah, so then what we'll do is we have those in-betweens there. So that's something in 3D that's a little bit different from stop motion when we do the sticker mouse, as we talked about before. But here we can now see the in-betweens, which is a lot of fun. And it's not queued up to, we're starting to go through dialogue and some of the lines that Julie's been recording with Colby for our radio play to plug into the animatic. So we're just kind of chipping away at some of those lines of dialogue there for Josh to work on, and then then we can have something to look at and talk about and see, do we like it? Is it too much, too little? And that's just part of the design process to get everything looking the way we want it to.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to show one final thing. This is the expression pack that we've been working on just to explore different.
Yeah, this is a fun one too, because we did a little bit of body animation, as you can see, with the arms and legs.
But is it the one that Josh worked on? I think he had a different one. I remember seeing something.
Yeah, we have a grayscale one that's updated. I think he put a couple new poses in here, but this is kind of the one that we started with that John originally worked on. And you get some of that body language in there, which is really nice, and the poses, because again, again with the puppets, because we don't have eyebrows and eyelids, the hat does a lot of the heavy lifting there with emotion. We're still going to work on the threads for the pupils within the button eyes, so that'll be a fun R&D experience to do crescent shapes, whether they're crosses, they can grow bigger, smaller, but a lot of the performance is really going to come through the body animations, so that you can tell if they're happy, proud, sad, shy, things like that is going to go a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the one that Josh.
Yeah.
You see that they're a little bit more expressive.
Yeah, and we're just like pushing the boundaries right now to see, I think eventually what you always want to do is push everything as far as possible, because then it's easier to pull back and say, okay, well, maybe the mouth shouldn't go this wide or open that tall. But we want to just like really push it and see what we can do with the puppets without, breaking the boundaries there, the physics of a real life puppet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's looking really cool.
Super fun to see them come to life.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and then, we can offer this animation also to the public, right? Eventually, once we have them, once we use them, maybe we can also offer them as to the owners of the puppets for them to do their own animations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a fun part of even going back to the NFTs and be able to, add in a little bit of different animation or be able to animate your puppet into a certain scene. I think that'll be great for all the owners to be able to, grab a hold of and give them an asset pack, essentially for them to be able to do some cool performance.
Yeah, yep. Wow, cool.
Yeah, and so, just moving forward for everybody following along, we're going to continue building out the Rumpus room and get into Act 2 and the variety show that Preston and Franklin are going to put on for the audience. That's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of great animation there, great storytelling, get into a little bit of the history of the puppets, and we'll really start to see things come to life, have multiple characters, so it's not just, Enid alone in the beginning. So it'll be a lot of fun to jump into that Rumpus room and get those things going. And in the meantime, Josh will plug away on some of these animations when we have approved dialogue, and we'll just chip away at it as we go.
Nice. Well, cool. Thank you. Right, I think that's all we have for today. Soon we're gonna also have my peeps join us. Show us some IRL puppets, and we have a pretty exciting release soon in regards to IRL puppets that Julie's preparing and working on. So yeah, super excited to share that with the public.
Yeah, and for anybody, checking us out, you can follow Julie Adams on Twitter and Instagram. I know she's been posting some cool stuff from her studio as she's working away. And yeah, it's going to be great to bring her in and show off some of this stuff once we get a little farther down the road. Oh, hey, Coopers. Oh,
Oh,
my little Coopers here is causing a little problem. Okay.
super.
They love keyboards.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Make that too.
Well, thank
right,
you,
well.
everybody. Yeah, we're trying to get on a little bit of a regular schedule, but we'll at least give everybody, a 24-hour heads up. You can follow along at plaguepuppets.io at our Instagram and Twitter. Nikki, who's our wonderful social media coordinator, she's been putting out some posts and giving a heads up to everybody. We just want to make sure we have enough to review and get to a point where we feel good, sharing something and showing you guys where we're at. So hopefully a couple times a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays is kind of what we're working on. Today's a Saturday, so thanks for joining us on your weekend. If not, you can always watch the video afterwards next week when you get a lunch break. And we'll keep posting away, and look forward to getting any feedback and any questions. Certainly once we get a little bit more used to this format and doing these live streams, we certainly want to encourage and invite everybody to come in and post any questions, that we can help, sort of show you what we're doing, and hopefully we can all work on this together.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you want to click on stop streaming now
Yep.
on OBS.
All right, thanks everybody.